Theme colors and fonts, Decoded. Matching your store designer look to your personal brand. Your storefront theme should feel like an extension of your Instagram feed, not a generic template. Here's how to pick colors and type that match. A follower taps your bio link, and for about half a second, before they've read a single word, their brain has already decided whether your store feels like you. That's the power and the danger of color and type. Get it wrong, and your storefront looks like a rental car. Technically functional, forgettable, interchangeable with every other page on the internet. Get it right, and the page feels like a natural next stop after your feed, which is exactly why people buy. This isn't about hiring a designer or learning color theory from scratch. It's about 6 or 7 deliberate decisions inside the store designer made in the right order. Why your theme is part of your brand, not just decoration. Think about the last 3 creator storefronts you visited. Chances are you remember maybe one of them by look alone. That one probably had a color or a font choice that felt intentional, slightly unusual, clearly chosen, consistent with everything else that creator posts. The other 2 blurred together because they used whatever the default theme handed them. When you create your store, the designer gives you a real head start. Cover photo, avatar, a set of theme presets, and content blocks you can rearrange freely. But presets are a starting line, not a finish line. The creators making the most money on the platform treat their storefront the same way they treat an album cover or a merch drop, as a piece of brand output, not a settings page. This matters more than it sounds like it should because a storefront doesn't get the benefit of context. On Instagram, your weird color choices are softened by 50 other posts around them. On your store fan page, the theme is the whole environment for 60 seconds, while someone decides whether to trust you with their card number. Mismatched colors and fonts read, subconsciously, as mismatched trust. Matched ones read as competence. The color pairing framework: dominant, accent, neutral. Forget mood boards. The fastest way to find your palette is to screenshot your last 12 Instagram or TikTok posts and look at what color keeps showing up in your outfits. Your backdrop, your thumbnails, or your logo. That's your dominant color. It should cover roughly 60% of your storefront's visual weight, background tones, header treatment, section dividers. Then pick one accent color for buttons, prices, and calls to action. This should be the color that makes your dominant pop. Usually it's complement, or a saturated version of a nearby hue. Finally, a neutral, off-white, warm gray, or near black carries your body text and card backgrounds so the page can breathe. The 60-30-10 gut check. If your storefront looks busy, it's almost always because 2 colors are fighting for the same amount of space. Assign rough percentages before you touch the theme editor. 60% dominant, 30% neutral, 10% accent. The accent should feel scarce. That scarcity is what makes your buy now button pop instead of blending into a rainbow. Matching fonts to your voice, not just your eye. Fonts carry tone the same way your voice does. A rounded, friendly sans serif says something completely different from a tight, editorial serif, even if the words underneath are identical. Before picking a font in the store designer, ask what your captions sound like. Punchy and direct. A bold, geometric sans matches the cadence. Warm and conversational, like you're texting a friend. A slightly rounded sans with generous spacing feels more like a chat bubble than a billboard. Polished and expert, especially for higher-priced courses or coaching. Benefits from a classic serif for headlines paired with a clean sans for body copy. That pairing alone signals this is a real business more than almost any other single design decision. One rule that saves almost every mismatch: never mix more than 2 typeface families, and never let both be decorative. If your headline font has personality, script condensed, ultra bold, your body font needs to disappear. Plain, legible, quiet. two loud fonts fighting each other is the type equivalent of clashing colors. And it's the single fastest way to make a page feel like a middle school flyer instead of a store people trust with their money. A quick pairing cheat sheet. Bold sans headline plus simple sans body. Safe, modern, works for almost any niche. Serif headline plus sans body. Instantly reads as premium. Great for courses and coaching. Rounded sans headline plus rounded sans body. Different weights. Warm and approachable. Good for community-driven creators. Condensed display headline plus neutral sans body. High energy. Good for fitness and hype-driven launches. Avoid script headline plus script body, or two competing bold display fonts. Legibility drops, and it looks amateur. The 10-minute brand audit before you touch the theme editor. Screenshot your last 10-15 posts and note which 1 to 2 colors repeat the most. Say your bio out loud. Does it sound punchy, calm, expert, or playful? Write down the single word. Open a live example store like Ahef, Emily. A live example store, and note what feels you versus what doesn't. Pick your dominant accent and neutral colors and write down their names, not just how they look, so you stay consistent. Choose one headline font and one body font, nothing else. Test your button text against your background at arm's length. If it's hard to read squinting, fix the contrast now. Preview your store on an actual phone, not just the desktop editor, since that's where 90% plus of your buyers will see it. This audit takes less time than picking a caption for your last post, and it prevents the most common failure mode: opening the theme editor, liking a preset in isolation, and publishing before checking whether it actually matches anything else you post. Consistency compounds. A storefront that matches your feed gets revisited, shared, and screenshotted by fans in a way a generic one never will. Common mistakes that make a storefront look generic. The most frequent issue isn't ugly color choices, it's low contrast. Light gray text on a white card, or a pastel button on a pastel background, might look tasteful on a mood board, but becomes nearly invisible on a phone screen in direct sunlight, which is exactly where most buyers are standing when they tap your link. If you can't tell your price from your background at a glance, neither can a distracted follower on a subway platform. Run every important element, prices, buttons, headlines, through a quick squint test. The second mistake is using too many colors because they're all on brand. Having 5 brand colors from your logo doesn't mean all 5 belong on one page at once. Pick your 3, dominant, accent, neutral, per the framework above, and save the rest for your product thumbnails or cover photo detail. The third mistake is copying a font because it's trendy rather than because it fits. A heavily stylized script might look great on a single Instagram quote graphic, but as your storefront's primary body font, it becomes exhausting to read past the first 3 lines, and tired visitors don't buy. Your storefront isn't a mood board. It's the last thing someone sees before they decide to trust you with their card. Every color and font choice is either building that trust or quietly chipping away at it. If you're still unsure whether your current setup is helping or hurting, browse the blog for more guides on layout and conversion. Theme and layout work together. And once your colors and fonts are locked in, the next win usually comes from how your blocks are ordered on the page. Key takeaways. Pull your palette from your existing content, not from a color wheel you found on Pinterest. 1 dominant color, 1 accent, 1 neutral. Resist the urge to use more than 3 match font and personality and to your content style. A fitness coach and a poetry newsletter should never share a typeface. Contrast isn't optional. Low contrast text is the silent conversion killer on creator storefronts. Your theme should pass the stranger scroll test. Would someone who's never seen your Instagram still guess it's yours? Start your creator store free at store.fan.